Hola amigos de ZonaKite, mi nombre es Martín Caprile desde Maui, Hawái. Y hoy vamos a entrevistar a Cabrinha, uno de los referentes de este deporte que es el kitesurf. Nos va a contar un poco de sus inicios, su vida acá en Maui, los objetivos de su marca y todo lo que rodea este increíble mundo del kite. Espero que les guste.
Water sports have been a part of my life ever since I can remember. When I was about 6 years old, my family moved pretty close to the beach in a town called Kailua. That's on the island of Oahu. And I could just walk from my house down to the beach, so immediately I was just in the ocean every single day. So water sports came really from the beginning. I started surfing when I was about 6 years old. Kite surfing for me kind of came as a natural progression of things. I had been surfing since I was a kid, and then I got into windsurfing when I was about 15 and pursued that as a career. I followed the professional windsurfing tour for a number of years, well, like 15 or more years. And there was a transition period where we got out of, not quite got out of, but we were transitioning out of windsurfing into this hybrid thing called tow surfing. And I was doing that for many, many years. And then the group of guys that I was kind of hanging with and doing this tow surfing thing with, a couple of them got into kite surfing. But that's when kite surfing was really on the ground level. And in the very beginning, I wasn't that interested. I was like, okay, I'm windsurfing, and what they're doing on the kite, it looks fun, but I had so many toys, you know, like all these water sports. I was like, you know, they're doing downwinders, and I can do that with them on my windsurfer. But then one day I saw a guy get a jump on a kite, and he stayed in the air way longer than I've ever seen any windsurfer stay in the air. And I was like, okay, now this looks interesting to me. So in the mid-90s, when I got into kite surfing, the sport was still very much in its infancy, and equipment was extremely hard to get. There were Whippica kites at the time, and you had to know somebody who knew somebody, and you know, that would import a couple, and they were really hard to get, and boards and control bars and all that kind of stuff. You pretty much had to make your own. I was already into board design, and so I decided to make kite boards. And so I started a brand called Cabrinha Design, and we were making custom kite boards here in Maui. And so that's kind of what kicked it off for me. Make kite surfing equipment is pretty detailed. I mean, for us at Cabrinha, it takes an army of people, designers, engineers, testers, you know, our graphic department. I mean, just to pull a product together, there's a lot of people involved, and there's a lot of time involved. So, you know, my part in the process, well, since the beginning, it was, you know, I was really a part of the entire development, being brand manager, product manager, kind of everything. And now I've scaled my position into you know, brand manager, which is mostly involved in the marketing and the touch, the taste, the feel of the Cabrinha brand. And so it's sort of, I sort of have a broad overview of the product development, and we have a product manager now. I go to the office, I work a bit, and you know, I'll admit, part of the job is testing our products. So, you know, many days I go out and I ride with the team and test the gear. And then I have my family, my wife and daughter, and spend time with them in the evenings and on weekends and whenever I can, basically. So yeah, I keep myself busy. There really isn't a whole lot of time. I think the future of the sport is going to be not driven by brands. It's not going to be driven by the industry. It's going to be driven by the riders. I mean, the riders always ultimately decide how they want to use this thing. And believe me, people use kite surfing any way they want. I mean, you can ride it on the snow, you can ride it with a race board, a foil board, a twin tip, a surfboard, you know, straps, no straps. I mean, basically any way you want to ride this thing. And so people are always taking this kite, this power source, and some sort of vehicle, whether it's, you know, like I say, a twin tip or a surfboard or a race board or a foil board or, you know, a land board or something, and just they're pushing it. People are just pushing it super far. And now it's really kind of becoming this really strange hybrid. I mean, if you look at the stuff that Nick Jacobson is doing, you know, jumping off of cliffs and buildings and everything else he can climb with a kite, and then, you know, transitioning into the water, it's, who knows where this is going to go. But I really think it's going to be the riders that are going to take it to the next level. You know, Cabrinha as a brand is constantly evolving, and will continue to evolve as the sport changes and the industry changes. So that's kind of on its own trajectory. For me personally, you know, I'm going to be in this sport for a long time, and all the sports that I do. I don't plan on slowing down, I hope. But beyond that, I mean, there's a lot of things that I do just outside of this sport. I do a fair amount of art, and that's something that I can always retire on. And you know, and the music and the family. I mean, all that kind of stuff is just life, and that I'm going to do forever. Don't let anybody dictate what you want to do. Ride however you want to ride, with whatever equipment you want to ride, and if it interests you, go after it. Like, go after it big and have fun, because all the people that I have seen that have been successful in this have done exactly that. They didn't listen to somebody that said, you know what, you have to ride this kind of board with these kind of this kind of connection or binding, and you got to put your stickers like this on the board. You know, don't let anybody tie you into a box. Like, just take this thing and go out and have fun and experiment. And the fun factor is what actually keeps you doing it day after day, and it's what drives like creativity. So there's my non-advice advice. Just want to give a big shout out to everybody in Latin America. It's good chatting with you guys, and a big mahalo, which is thank you, to ZonaKite.